Here we're looking at pediatric growth charts suggesting a linear relationship between age in years and median height in inches. So tell me how old a child is in years, and I should be able to figure out how tall they should be as their median in height in inches. This is for children between 3 and 11 because out of that domain there, we might not see any growth. Like if you look at the growth chart for somebody between 33 and 41, there's probably not much change in height. Between 3 and 11, though, there's a lot of change. So 3-year-olds have a median height of 34 inches. So there's 1 point. A 3-year-old is 34 inches tall, and an 11-year-old is 56 inches tall. 11-year-old is 56. So we could call these X1, Y1, and X2, Y2. We're going to determine the average rate of change for height with respect to age. We're going to include units and interpret in context of this problem. So slope is always Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X1. So we're going to do 56 minus 34. 56 inches minus 34 inches is what that really means. So we are looking at a 22-inch growth. And this is between 11-year-olds minus 3-year-olds. So we're looking at an 8-year period. So they are growing 2.75 inches per year. The numerator is measuring inches, the denominator is measuring years. We're going to interpret this. So we'll say on average, children, I could say children's heights increase, or I could just say children grow. We got a positive slope, so their height is increasing. So children grow 2.75 inches per year, always 2 units on slope. And this is just between ages 3 and 11. Because like I said, if we looked at other ages, there might not be such a drastic growth. We're going to use that data that we just found for the slope to write ourselves an entire equation for height as a function of age. So I'm thinking y equals mx plus b. In this first step, I have already figured out the slope. The slope was 2.75. So I have m. That's great. Now I also need to know b, the initial amount. So this would be the initial height of a child. So they don't start out as 0 inches. We're looking at the initial amount for this problem. And so we want to figure out what b is. Y equals mx plus b. And I can plug in any point that I want to. I could use the 334 or 1156. It doesn't matter. I might use 334 just because it's nice kind of having smaller numbers. So there's an x and a y. I'll replace y with 34. My slope is 2.75. The x value here is 3 for a 3-year-old plus b. So we have 2.75 times a 3-year-old. We're looking at 8.25 there. So 34 equals 8.25 plus b. And we want to get b by itself, so we're going to end up subtracting that 8.25. To get b by itself, b, the initial height when they are born, is at 34 minus 8.25, which is going to be 25.75. So we're just given 2 points, and we can find the slope between them and use one of those 2 points to find b. If I would have used 11, 56, I would get the same exact answer, plugging that in for x and y and using m from the first step. So my last step is to write the equation. Y equals m, which is 2.75x plus b, 25.75. But I want to pay attention. This is supposed to be height as a function of age. So I'm going to change this y to h time equals 2.75 times a plus 25.75. Tell me their age. You can multiply it by 2.75 and add their initial height, 25.75, and then I'll get their overall height for any specific age. Looking at this, what is the appropriate domain? So we're not going to use this and plug in any age that we want to, because if you plug in 22 years to this, it's going to look like we have some giants. So we're not looking at adults. We are looking from ages 3 to 11. We can talk about 3-year-olds and we can talk about 11-year-olds. What is the appropriate range? Well, it's going to be the Y values for those. So we could plug into our function and figure out what the height is for those ages, but we're actually already given it. For 3-year-olds, their height is 34 inches, and 11-year-olds, we're at 56 inches. We're going to include those. Those median heights are part of the study. So what does the model predict for a 6-year-old? So it's a part of our domain. Our domain is 3 to 11-year-olds, and we want to figure out how tall is a 6-year-old on their median height. So we're going to plug in the height of a 6-year-old. So we're going to take 2.75 inches per year, how much they grow. They've been growing for 6 years now because they're 6 years old. And initially, they start out at 25.75 inches. So we're just going to grab our calculators, do 2.75, have a parentheses around the 6, plus 25.75. And that median height for a 6-year-old is 42.25. And make sure we put our units on it. That height for a 6-year-old is measured in inches. So 42.25 inches tall for a 6-year-old.